Hi, everyone. Welcome to ISEP's Student Experience Panel. We are going to get started in just a few seconds, but if you want to drop in the chat where you are tuning in from today, that would be great. And for everyone that's just now joining, we're going to start in just a few seconds, but if you want to drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, we would love to hear. Okay, we have Germany, welcome. Kentucky. Indiana, a lot of students from the US. And for everyone just now joining, we're going to start in just a second. But if you want to drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, that would be great. Switzerland, Austria, Switzerland, Spain. Awesome. More US, Missouri. Well, thank you everyone for sharing, Malaysia. Welcome to our presentation. We're going to get started in just a second. If you do have any questions today for our panelists that are joining us, our ISEP alumni, you can drop your questions in the Q&A box, and then we will get to your questions during the presentation. Awesome. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So hi, everyone. Welcome to our Student Experience Panel. As many of you know, we are ISEP. As a nonprofit organization, ISEP's mission is to make the life-changing experience of studying abroad, interning abroad, volunteering abroad, accessible and affordable for everyone. Our programs are immersive and authentic, and we focus on intercultural exchange and engagement with the host communities. And we're excited for our panelists today to talk about their experience in their host communities. So how does ISEP work? ISEP has semester-long, full year, and summer programs. ISEP has a community of over 300 universities in over 50 countries. ISEP has two main program types. We have ISEP Direct. For ISEP Direct, you pay a specific program fee with flexible housing and meal options, and your placement is guaranteed on ISEP Direct as long as you meet the program requirements that are listed on the program page. For ISEP Exchange, you pay your home university's tuition, housing, and meals to your home university. Because we have this model, we cannot guarantee placement on ISEP Exchange at any specific site. For ISEP Exchange, you can rank up to 10 programs on your program list, and the chance of placement ultimately depends on the popularity of the program and space available on that program. We encourage students, in order to have a good list, to list 3 to 5 programs on your program list with 1 or 2 programs with a good or excellent chance of placement. And if you do have any questions on program type or chance of placement, we encourage you to reach out to your student services officer. Their contact information is on your ISEP dashboard, and we will talk about that a little later after the presentation. If you have not yet started an ISEP application, we encourage you to do so immediately. You can create an account on our website. Like I mentioned, we encourage you to reach out to your student services officer should you have any questions on the application process or your programs of interest, and they will be able to assist you in finding your programs of best fit. And now I am going to pass it over to today's moderator, Jackie Langdon, to introduce our ISEP alumni panelists.
Thank you, Grace. I'm so excited to be chatting with each of our panelists today, and we'll go ahead and do a quick intro of everybody, and then we'll go through some more detailed information for each of you. But today we have joining us Natalia, who's from the US, who studied abroad in Barcelona. We have Shaleni, who is from Malaysia and studied abroad in Bulgaria. Logan is joining us from the US and studied in Finland. Melissa is from Bolivia and studied abroad in the US. Emily is from the US and studied abroad in South Korea. And lastly, we have Ikram, who is from Italy originally and also studied abroad in the US. So we're going to go through each of your guys' slides now. And if when your slide comes up, you wouldn't mind telling us how you selected your site or sites for your ISEP application, that would be wonderful. So we'll go ahead and switch to the next slide. Natalia, do you want to get started with telling us how you chose your site or sites for your ISEP application?
Yeah, for sure. Hi, everyone. As it was said, I'm Natalia. I'm originally from Brazil, but I go to school in the US and I studied in Barcelona. And I chose it because I have a minor in Spanish. So I really wanted to go to a place where I could improve my Spanish. And I thought that Europe would be a great place to just travel around. So that's how I thought about Spain. And I had been to Barcelona before and I really liked the city. So that's how I chose it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, you're up.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Shalini Murugeswaran, a third-year undergraduate from Malaysia. I've completed my study abroad program at American University in Bulgaria, AUBG. So it was a semester-long ISEP exchange program. So if you guys have any questions, specific questions regarding the study abroad program, as an international student, feel free to shoot your questions, okay? And I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions. So before I move on to the question, I just wanted to say that I'm not a native speaker. So English is my second language, so please pardon my language. All right, so how I ended up in Bulgaria. So initially, before I apply this ISEP program, my only thought was not to choose any countries from Asia. It's because it's solely because I'm an Asian, so I know how Asian people are. So this is like once in a lifetime opportunity to experience the study abroad program. So I thought of going somewhere really far and experience their culture, their lifestyle. So I wanted to go to, initially I wanted to go to Canada, but due to some unprecedented circumstances, I chose Bulgaria, and I would say Bulgaria was the best choice that I've ever met. So so that's why I ended up in Bulgaria. And one of the reasons I chose Bulgaria was also due to my courses, because the courses that I choose at my host institution should be similar to my home institution. So when I check all the institution, I found out AUBG was the best choice because there are many courses which were similar to my home institution. Thank you.
Thank you. We can go ahead to the next slide. All right, Logan.
Hi guys, my name is Logan. So I'm from Ohio in the US and I studied abroad in Finland. I'm a fourth-year student. My major is Russian and Japanese translation and political science. Sorry, that's my dog. So yeah, I ended up studying in Finland because I just
Oh,
I'm sorry
I think
about that.
you're okay. You were saying why you were choosing Finland and then it muted.
Yeah, so I studied abroad in Finland because I'm so sorry.
We can come back to Logan. We'll jump ahead and come back to you in a second.
Okay, Melissa, you're up now.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa. I'm from Bolivia, and my major is graphic design, and my minor is advertising. I decided to go to the USA. Well, first of all, as my friend Shalini says, like I was looking for all the courses to can improve myself as a professional way. First of all, I want to go to Spain, but my courses wasn't like available over there. So I was looking for the right like place where I can encourage myself and also improve myself as a person, and also improve my English because my native language is Spanish. So yeah, I went to Ronald College, and it was like a small university, but it was so cool because I can do a lot of things over there, and all my courses were encourage myself to like coming back and see the reality over there here. So yes.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Let's go ahead to the next student. So I think did we skip? Okay, Emily. Emily, it's your turn to introduce yourself.
Hi guys, so my name is Emily. I am currently a fourth-year student at San Jose State University, and I'm majoring in management information systems. So I studied abroad at Yonsei University last fall for 1 semester. And I chose this program because I knew I wanted to go somewhere in East Asia, but the programs in Japan and like Taiwan just didn't work out with my schedule. So then I chose Korea, and I chose Yonsei specifically because I wanted to be in like the capital, obviously Seoul, and it was honestly a very strategic position because it was just you just had so much to do around the college itself.
Thank you, Emily. Okay, Ikram.
Hi everyone, my name is Ikram and I'm 23 years old and I'm studying in Milan. I'm majoring in business and marketing. For the last fall semester, I was in Georgetown in Texas at the Southwestern University. And during my application for ISEP, I always wished to study in America, and I never been in America. So I knew it from the first time that I was allowed to do the ISEP exchange that I want to be in America. And when I listed my choices, I just chose the university who will allow me to do an internship. In fact, at the Southwestern, I did an internship from August until December, since I'm attending my master's degree now, so I need the internship to do it. And it was very helpful and useful to enhance my skills also for future jobs. So I really enjoyed my time there. Thank you.
Thank you. And we can go ahead to our next slide, and we'll give Logan a moment to introduce himself.
So you're ready now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. I'm so sorry about that, you guys. He was being so quiet, and then a car went by. But as I said, my name is Logan. I'm from Ohio. I went to Tampere, Finland. The reason I picked Finland was because my major, like I said, is Russian and Japanese translation. And this is my final year. I actually am doing another semester abroad in Japan, and I leave in 6 weeks, and I just came back from Finland today. So I was doing the Russian part of my degree there in Finland. And I wanted to go to somewhere else where I spoke the language already. And so I'd be able to take classes in the language, which gave me more options. So that's why I picked there.
Awesome. Thank you to each of our panelists for joining us today and for introducing yourselves. We're going to jump into our next question, and we'll have a few of you answer each question. So feel free to jump on in if you have an answer to the question. So our first question is, can you please share with us an anecdote or a story highlighting a pivotal moment during your study abroad experience? I can choose somebody as well if nobody wants to volunteer.
Natalia, do you want to start?
I can start. That's
Yeah.
okay. I feel like a good example would be the first trip I did with my roommate. We went to Mallorca, which is relatively close to Barcelona. And I was super excited. It was my first trip and all. However, I got really sick. And the first day I pretty much didn't do anything. But in the end of the day, like the trip was really nice. Like I was able to, like, despite that like adversity. Like the other, I got to like enjoy the Sunday, made the best out of it. And that just made me like realize that there were going to be some bumps along the way, but like I just have to like take into perspective like the great opportunity that I was having to like see so many cool places, and not focused on like the bad things that happen. So I feel like that's a great thing to keep in mind when you study abroad, because there will be like certain things that are going to upset you, or what, like things that are going to upset you, but like in the end of the day, you just have to focus on the like bigger picture that you're having such a great experience.
Can I
Yeah,
start?
just jump on in. Jump in.
Oh, okay. So for me, one of the most pivotal moment is when I lost my wallet a few hours before my flight back to Malaysia in Sofia. So I was roaming, basically I was roaming around Sofia all by myself alone. And then I just randomly met a person, a guy at a church. We just instantly exchanged social media, and then we went on ice skating. So so I had a friend actually, you know, and then and on the next day, when I wanted to go to the airport, I lost my wallet. So luckily, the friend that I just met 2 days ago, randomly at a church, helped me with my wallet, my missing wallet. He spent money to book taxi for me and followed me all the way to the airport, get the boarding pass for me. And he also gave extra money for me to eat and send me back. So that was one of the pivotal
Wow,
moments
that's
for me.
incredibly nice. Oh my goodness. Wow,
Yes. Yeah.
great.
I think that like one of the most pivotal moments for like one of the most interesting things was when I had my first day of class, actually, because I remember going to class, and so like the schedule in Finland is very different as to how like the academics function. So I was taking 3 classes in Finnish, 3 classes in English, and this was my first class that I had in Finnish, and it was Russian media policing. And I remember going to the class and I just could not understand one word that the professor was saying, even though I knew I spoke Finnish and like I had taken the exam to prove that I spoke Finnish, but it was just because it was so, I was not used to it, I think. And that's something you're going to get used to a lot. It's like being like, wow, I don't understand what's going on here. And you have to be able to just like try your best and get through it. And I ended up getting through it. And then by the end, I had written essays in Finnish and become like much more academically professional in the language, which I think will happen with all students, you know.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, go
for
for it,
me,
Melissa.
I'm sorry. For me, it was when I was going to my host university. I was so excited to go. Like I was counting like the minutes, and I was in the airport, and then I saw that my flight was canceled, and it was because like it was a storm, snow so bad over there in Roanoke. So it was so sad, and I didn't know what I should do. So I was a little shy with my English, so I have to like confront the situation. And there were a lot of people like going to Roanoke too, because they went to other university, but no one to Roanoke College. So I was so nervous and didn't know what I should do. And they said, let's like have a car and drive over there. And I said, yes, let's go. And I was like the only girl like with whole of boys. So then I realized that it was a bad idea. And my roommates were like, no way. So I wait for them, and they go to pick up me, and that was so sweet because she even didn't know me, and they go to pick up me, and it was so nice. And then I come to the university and begin my classes it was like my first day, and it was like a lot of things to do, and I didn't even have time to adapt myself. But I think one of the biggest thing is that you have to believe in yourself, because you can do it whatever situation is happening. You can do whatever you want, and it's just like positive mental thing. So that helped me a lot, and this marked me forever.
Okay, we have so many great student questions from the audience already. So I'm going to start jumping into them because we have a ton of great questions. And to make sure we can get to all of our questions, maybe we'll ask maybe 2 or 3 people to answer each question. So just jump on in. Our first question is from Tim. Tim asks, how did you balance traveling, meeting new people, and studying all at the same time? What can you suggest? And Tim's especially interested, Tim wants to come to the United States, so Tim's especially interested in hearing from Melissa and Ikram on this, I think.
Okay.
Sorry. No,
Go ahead.
ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. For me, it was a little crazy because I did like an internship too over there. So I was with my internship, my classes, and also like getting with be with my friends, and it was so crazy for me. But one thing that I can say is that whatever you do, you have to do what you want to do. So the first thing you have to do also is like organize your time. Because if you don't organize your time, you can do nothing. So for me, it was like all the mornings was my internship, then I have my courses, and then I hang out with my friends. But also there were days that I want to be by myself. And I think this is so important. Be with yourself, because if you are like good with yourself, you can be good with anyone. So, and also I have trips because I was in a spring break and I have other things to do. So one tip, if I can tell you, is just organize yourself, because you can do whatever you want, just organizing all your priorities, and also like put yourself as a priority, because sometimes you want to do a lot of things, but you can't do because your body also says like stop. And you have to like hear your body and see what you can do, and be realistic, because sometimes you say, yes, I can do this and do this. And then it's like, I can't handle that. And sometimes that happened to me because I want to do everything and I couldn't like handle that. But yeah, just organize your time and you can do like all the things that you plan to do.
Awesome.
Yeah, I completely agree with Melissa also, because what helps me is to have like the academic calendar from the university. In fact, it was my first time in the USA, so of course I want to travel as much as I can. And I went during the fall break in October. I went to Los Angeles with my roommate, and I went to New York after my finals in December. So I think you could just like use your time, your break to travel if you want. And for what concerns meeting new people, what helps me, it was my roommate. She was in the swimming team of the university, and she introduced me to her team. But also during my classes, it's so common in America to do project, to project group, project teams. So it helps you to meet new people. Also, the classes is from 25 people, so they are very small, 25 or less. So everyone knows each other. So I think there's not the complete problem.
Great, thank you both. All right, we've got a lot of questions here. I'm going to jump around a little bit, and I can open this one to anybody. How did you prepare yourself for spending such a long time far away from home? And did you find it hard to meet new people and find friends? Or maybe what are some of your tips for meeting new people and finding friends? Anybody can jump in who wants to. Go for it, Logan.
So I think I'm used to moving away from home. I've actually studied abroad in the past in middle school and high school. And then, so I think that I don't think you're ever really prepared for it. It's going to be hard, and there's going to be things that make you homesick, and there's going to be these things that really challenge you mentally. But I think that it's overall such a great experience, and you're going to gain so much from it, that those like things that might seem like a little bit hard at that time, they get like it outweighs the other things, if that makes sense. And then the other part was referring to friends, was it?
Yeah. How did you make
Uh,
friends, or tips for making friends?
So there's a lot of exchange students. Like, honestly, I don't know about for the rest of the people, but at my university alone, like in Finland, of all places, which is not a very popular place to go, I think that there was like 400 exchange students, which is crazy. And you're also going to meet a lot of people from your classes. And I think that also it depends on where you go, because Finns, for example, are very reserved and shy. And so it's very hard to make friends with them in comparison to people in like Spain or in the US, like all these other places that have like much more open cultures. It'll be a lot easier to make those friends, but you're always going to have those group of exchange students, and then you're going to have the people from your classes, but you have to really be okay putting yourself out there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think we hear that a lot about the importance of putting yourself out there and being open to new people and just kind of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Does anybody else want to share some advice that you have for making new friends when you first study abroad?
Can I start?
Mhm.
Okay, so for me, I love to travel, especially travel far. And in my whole life, I've never traveled to any countries except India. The India I went when I was 15 years old, so that was it. So I've never had any experience traveling to any other country. So I took this ISEP opportunity very seriously, and I wanted to experience something new. My only thought and concern was to get connected with various people from all over the country. So that was my main goal. And also drive me to actually join this ISEP program. And a tip to actually make new friends is that basically I'm a little bit introvert. It's difficult for me to start the conversation or to make connection, I have a starting problem with that. So what I did was I prepared myself. I said that this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. So if you like, what's the point of me going to abroad and learning people culture, but you don't make friends, So I came out of the comfort zone. So I challenged myself. So Shalini, you have to go and make new friends. You have to try something, you have to come out from the comfort zone. So what I did was I randomly talked to people in the campus. I randomly spoke to them. Yeah, obviously there are some people who are very friendly, some who don't even look at us. I truly get that. Some people you get the vibe like instantly. Some people, they just don't even, try to talk to you. So I'll see the vibe, like whether they're okay with me or not. So I just, if I need any help. So one thing is you shouldn't be shy. If you need any help, you shouldn't be shy. You just go out there and seek help, talk to them. So in a way, you get to know the person, you can make friends with them. So first things first, don't be shy. Just go to them and talk to them, and try to get friends who are seniors. So they would help you. They would help you to explain the environment, the institution environment, stuff like that. And also what I did was, every person that I met, what I would usually do is that I fix a day to meet them personally. Maybe I go out for dinner or lunch to talk to them, get to know them even more. So yeah, that's what I usually do. So yeah, just go out
Great.
there and talk.
Thank you. Okay. Next one is going to be a fast one, and then we're going to jump into a related question. So we have one student who wants to know who went on ISEP Exchange and who went on ISEP Direct. So maybe we'll do this by a show of hands. Can you raise your hand if you went on ISEP Exchange? Okay. Everyone see? Great. And then if you went on ISEP Direct. Cool, that's great. Emily and Natalia and Natalie. Awesome, thank you. So that's our split between exchange and direct. And then the next student question is from Michaela, and she's asking, what made each of you choose ISEP for your program, and what do you think made it different? Anyone want to jump in? What made you choose ISEP?
For me, I can say that I do like the ISEP exchange. So in that way, I can have like a lot of universities and options to see which one can adapt to my degree. So it is incredible because you have a lot of like choices that you can make. And also you can see what you can have, like what courses you don't have in your university and you can have over there. So that's the main reason why I chose ISEP. And I think it's the best experience because they help you in everything. And all the, like in my university, they were 3 ISEP people. So we have like orientation things and like we were like together. And every time I need help, they like ISEP work for me. So I think that's the main thing, like why I chose ISEP.
Awesome. Anyone else want to say why they chose to go with ISEP?
Just going off of what Melissa said, I feel like as someone that already studies abroad, like in the US, like structure is a really important thing, like having like a support system in a way, because you're in a different country, like you don't have your family. It's like not as like easy to navigate like certain issues. So like I just felt like ISEP, just like Melissa said, like did a really great job with like helping us with like orientation, giving us tips. Like even I remember with like the Metro card, like they would tell us, oh, this is the best option, like, you know, with like small things like, oh, like for groceries, like this is how it works, like this is like the cultural differences. So those are small things that sometimes we take it for granted when we are in our own country, but as an exchange student, someone that is coming to a completely new place, like it's just like a very like good resource to have. And I think like ISEP did a really great job.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I agree with Natalia because I did an exchange program with the Erasmus, which is a famous program for going abroad in Europe. And the difference is with the Erasmus, I was completely by my own, so I had to search for the housing, the meal plan, everything like this. And with ISEP, it's everything just like already understandable. So I have the housing, I have the meal plan, and also you can experience more, I think, the college experience that you have. So you can live in the university, you have a lot of features that maybe probably in other programs you don't have. And I also sincerely think that it's quite cheap for what he gives to you. So I really recommend it to do it.
Great, thank you. Okay, we're going to jump to our next question. This is a question for Emily. We have a student who, so Emily went to Yonsei on ISEP Direct, to clarify. And the question is, how did you like it? And do you have any recommendations before going to Seoul? What do you think about your time in Seoul? And what recommendations do you have for somebody else who wants to study in Seoul?
Okay, so I think that it was a really great experience overall. The school culture, I think, in Korea is quite different from America, so it took a while to kind of get used to like the policies and the structure of the classes there. For example, where I go to school in the US, like attendance is not as important as it is in Korea, where you have to like sign in every time you go to class. And that might differ based on the country you're from. I think that the city of Seoul itself, like there's just a lot to do all the time if you want to go out. So there's like lots of nightlife things. You can stay out late if you want, or you can always head back to school at Yonsei. I think some things to get to know before you go is if you want to travel elsewhere in Korea, for example, like Busan or like Jeju Island, I know are popular destinations, and I also went to both of those. It's probably best to like book your Airbnb and like plane tickets or bus tickets like ahead of time, or to figure out like logistically when you're going to go. Also, if you're planning on like renting a car or like driving in Jeju Island or something like that, you should probably get an IDP before you leave. Because my friends and I tried to rent a car, but then we figured out too late that you actually need the IDP before you leave the country. And so we had to take the bus in Jeju everywhere, and it wasn't very convenient. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. This next one is open to anybody. How short did the time feel for you? Would you suggest staying longer than 1 semester? Open to anybody who wants to answer it.
I think that really depends on what you're trying to get out of your time there. Because like for me, this is my last year. And like I had specific requirements to fill. And so that's why I'm doing my last year in 2 different countries instead of 1. But if I could have stayed in Finland, I probably would have, honestly. I also think like it's hard to determine how you'll feel about the country once you get there. Because like some people might not like a country as much as they thought they would have, which is just like, I think a fact, but most people have a great time. And you could also apply for it like again for the 2nd semester. I'm not really quite sure how that works, but I would have stayed.
Yeah, I think it depends on your goals. I think that's a great answer, that if you know from the beginning that you'd want to stay somewhere for a full year, that's something that we can help you with. You also can apply for an extension. You can apply to go to a 2nd country for not for your 2nd semester. We can talk, any of those options with students always. So, okay, our next question. How did you prepare yourself for time difference and dealing with time differences? And does anybody have any tips or tricks for managing time difference? Anybody want to take it?
I can.
Yeah.
I think for me, I would say if you have access to it, like there are like jet lag medicine you can take. Another thing is like to start on your flight, what you can do is just adjust your internal clock to the time zone of the country you're going to. So for example, if I was going to Korea from here, if it was nighttime in Korea, I would probably like sleep at the time I like would normally sleep, like 9 p.m. Korean time, but then that might be like 7 a.m. like here. But then you want to prepare your body for the time zone in the other country, because it can take quite a while to get over jet lag, and sometimes you just don't have that time to get over it before the semester starts.
Great. Okay. Our next one, to the people that studied in the United States, can you share if you were studying in a small town or a big city and what that experience was like in the United States?
I was in a small town, so it was so pretty because my university was so small. So one thing about that is that I can know everyone, and I can like put myself over there and know who I am. So that's the thing that I love about that. And also like there is not a lot of things as a big city, but you have a lot of good things like in small town, because you can do like a small trips over there. And I don't know, like also like if you have the opportunity to have like a drive trips, so you can like go to a big city and it's not too far away.
So it depends. It depends the person, because at the beginning I want to go to a big city, but then when I was like in a little town, it was so small, but it was so pretty, and everything was over there. So I just do my things like by walking. So I love that.
Great. Ikram, do you want to share? Were you in a small town or a big city?
Yeah, I also was in a small town. Also, even my university was small, and I think I prefer because it was more intimate. So if I just go to lunch, I just sit down with random people, but I'm just used to see them every day for lunch or for dinner. So it's more like easy to get know each other well. So yeah, I think I definitely prefer it. Yeah.
Great. Okay, next question that we can open to anybody. Is there anything that you wish you had brought with you to your host country? Or that you'd recommend students bring with them to their host country?
Okay. For me, I would say that okay, I'm an Indian, and I mostly I eat spicy food, food with spices, Indian spices. So I didn't bring actually. I didn't bring along with me because I thought that the immigration section at the airport, they would stop me, and I thought that they wouldn't allow me to bring all of that. So I was pretty afraid of that. So I didn't bring any of those spices, and I missed that a lot because I didn't get any of those in Bulgaria. So please bring your spices, whatever spices that you usually take in your home country. And then what else?
I think
Bring up.
we hear like from a lot of students, it might be good if there's a food that you know you really need and it's going to really comfort you, a certain food. You should
Yes.
definitely Google if that food is available in your host country, if it's easy to buy or hard to buy in your host country. And if it's hard to buy, it might be nice to have at least like one emergency source of that food in case you really need it.
Yes, exactly. And also don't forget your medicines if you have any allergic, or if you need to take any medicine frequently or whatever, just bring it, don't be afraid of that. And yeah, so basically the food is important. Thank you.
Logan, it looks like you want to jump in.
Oh, I have something so serious. I know this is gonna, people are probably like, what? But okay, I really like peanut butter.
Peanut
But the
butter is
peanut
one
butter
we hear a lot.
but the peanut butter in Europe is terrible. I'm so sorry. It is not good. But honestly, so I wish I would have brought it. My mom actually shipped it to me, but I was unfortunately not able to get it. So
Oh
that
no.
really sucked. And another thing was deodorant. The deodorant in Europe is also very different. So yeah.
That's good. Good advice. Emily, you've got some?
Yeah, I think when it comes to like personal hygiene products, whether that's like deodorant or like eye skincare or like hair products, if the country is like very different from where you're from, you should probably bring the ones that you are used to and that you use, because for example in Korea, like their water pressure is different. So a lot of people actually like say that they experience some hair loss, or they get like some dandruff or something because the water is like too hard. They also don't have a lot of like curly hair products. So if your hair texture is like not straight, it can be hard to find products for your hair. Other personal hygiene products, like maybe like pads if you have periods, are also quite different. So if you have a specific brand you like to use, you should just bring extra. And then also another thing is like maybe you should bring some like stomach medicine, or maybe for like constipation, things like that, because just in case, sometimes the time difference and the different food ingredients and things like that can make your stomach a little bit upset, and the last thing you want is to have like a stomach bug or be stuck in your room with an upset stomach.
That's good advice, definitely. Okay, this one is for Logan, all about your preparation for Japan. Oh, Logan might have stepped away, so we'll skip that around. This one will open up to anybody. How easy or hard did you find the process of preparing to go on your program? And as you were preparing, how did you overcome any kind of bumps in the way, if you had any bumps in the way?
Well, for me, the preparation for ISEP program was quite, I would say, hassle, because in my country, we don't have a Bulgarian embassy in my country. So the nearest embassy that I could go is in Indonesia. So I went all the way to Indonesia to apply for visa. And then I requested for e-visa, and also requested the ambassador. I requested them to have a Google Meet session for the interview. And he said, no, everything has to be face-to-face. So I went twice to Indonesia to apply and also to get my visa. So that visa process was pretty tough, pretty hard for me. It was a hell of a ride. And then, and when it comes to preparation, after the visa process, the preparation was quite easy, because everything it's in ISEP portal. Like they have a section like before you go, what you should do, while you are there, what you should do, and after the ISEP program, what you should do. So everything is in there. And most importantly, I read the handbook, Bulgaria handbook. So I had some gist of information of what to prepare before going to Bulgaria.
Awesome. Great. Anybody else have one that they want to share? How you prepared?
So I studied a lot of like Finnish, like for the language. And then I also did just a lot of research about the culture. I had been to Finland before when I was like a kid. And then, so I kind of knew how that was supposed to, like how the culture was in comparison to like the United States. But yeah, I think that was pretty much it. I like trying to go like without having too many strict plans, because I think being able to be flexible and like adjusting to the situation is very important.
Great. Okay, next question. For those who studied with an exchange, obviously housing, meals, and tuition is already covered on exchange. But the question is, beyond those things that already are covered through exchange, how much extra money do you think you need? Obviously, that will depend a lot on your country, but maybe you can talk through things that you spent extra money on and how you recommend students think about their budget. Like, what kinds of personal expenses do you think students should be aware of if you studied on exchange? What do you think? Anybody want to jump in?
Yeah, I think for the classes material like books or sites, something like this, because I wasn't completely aware, also because in Italy we don't use as much like the books or something like this. We just have the professor who has its own material and projected on the projector. So when I was in my 4 classes, in each classes I had to like buy this site online, and they was about $100 or $200. So it was like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that. So yeah, I think the school materials would be like quite expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. And we also always try to help students find ways to like rent their school materials or buy them used or things like that. But if you're coming to the United States, a lot of students are surprised that students in the United States often will purchase or rent their books in the US, which doesn't happen in a lot of other countries. Anything else
Yeah.
that folks would recommend that you budget for?
Yeah, that happened to me. I have to rent like 2 books too. So in that way I can afford that money over there. And other expenses that I have, it was for my personal like care, if we could say like that, or for my
Yeah.
because obviously when I go to USA, I didn't bring all my whole thing because it wasn't like for me in my mind it wasn't logical, if we can say. But yeah, at the beginning was a little expensive for me buying all my personal care, and then also like have a little budget for me for the weekends, because with my roommate we used to travel like to little cities or little I don't know, we used to do like drive trips, so for that, for helping for the gas or that kind of things. But otherwise I didn't have like problems about that. But it depends what you want and your goals about what you want to do in your exchange abroad.
Yeah. I'd say that a lot of students will plan to budget money for travel. Most students, when they're studying abroad, want to be able to travel around and explore their new host country or the region where they are. So I would say that budgeting some money for travel is definitely, if you have the ability to do that, is definitely something that a lot of students would suggest.
I think another really cool thing that you can use is like there's a website where you can look at how much things cost in different countries. Like for me, so Finland is very expensive. It's a very expensive country. Like the Finno-Scandinavia ones in Europe at least are quite pricey, and so that was something that I really had to like prepare for. Some things weren't as bad as they are inside the United States. But yeah, I think that's like a really good website. If I can find it, I'll send it in the chat.
That's a great website, yes. Okay, Logan, we actually have a question specifically for you. We have one student who's interested in going to Japan, and they're asking, do you have any advice on absorbing the Japanese language or memorizing language to make communication easier for Japan?
Yeah, definitely. So that's very, I guess, broad thing to talk about. But I think input is like one of the biggest things for me. So that's like what I actually do for a job is I'm like an interpreter and a translator for a couple of different languages. And so I kind of grew up all around languages and stuff like that. Input and like talking to people I think is one of the best things you can do for anything. As well as it's something that not a lot of people like, but I think understanding the basics of like a grammar thing, of like grammar, how that works is crucial, in especially languages like Japanese and Korean, I'd say, as well as like some other languages like Finnish and all those things. So I think just books, television, music, meeting people, like there's a whole bunch of like language apps that you can use. Like for example, Tandem is a really good one. You can put on like I can write it in the chat, and you put in like whatever language you're learning and someone's learning your language, and you guys can just kind of talk back and forth, and you can correct the things that they say, they can correct the things that you say. So yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, one question is, did everyone feel like you had time to travel to other parts of the country wherever you traveled? Or did you need to stay really close to the university where you studied? And the question is, especially in the United States, did you feel like you were able to travel from the United States?
Yeah, as I told before, for me it was a little easy because also my roommates had like a car. So in that way we can like travel over there. So I was in Virginia and we went to North Carolina and then Pennsylvania and then New York. So I had the possibility to look a lot of places over there and to travel obviously, but it was like obviously in our breaks. And sometimes we finish like all our classes on Friday at 3 p.m. So at that moment we start our trip. So we can like handle everything and our responsibilities too.
Awesome. Great. Does anyone else want to talk about, were you able to travel? Were most of you able to travel? Yeah.
I think for me, I was able to travel a lot because Europe is so close. I don't know. I think I went to, my class schedule in Finland was very interesting. I had classes on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and Mondays were online. So I had like 5 days a week to travel. And then I also had like a 2-week break in the middle. So I think I ended up going to like 27 countries throughout the time of my exchange.
Wow.
Can I share mine?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I had plans to travel. As I said before, Bulgaria was the best choice for me compared to Canada, because if I've gotten Canada, I think I can only travel to US. So Bulgaria was the best choice for me because I get to travel to many neighboring countries like Romania, Serbia. So, and yeah, and the thing is, I plan to travel to many countries, but unfortunately, I only managed to travel 2 countries, which is North Macedonia and Greece. I went to Athens, and it was an amazing experience because I only managed to travel 2 countries because my semester was very short. It was just 4 months. One semester in Bulgaria was just 4 months. So, and I traveled to North Macedonia and Greece during my fall break, 3 days in North Macedonia and another 3 to 4 days in Greece. So it was a very short vacation, but I really had a good time there. So if your semesters are quite long, like 5 or 6 months, if my semester is, if it is that long, I might have traveled to maybe Romania and Serbia, but due to time constraint, just the 2 countries.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're almost at time, so I want to turn it back to Grace to wrap things up.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. So we want to go to the next slide. And I can go ahead and kick us off once we're able to go to that next slide. As we mentioned previously, we have our student services officers, so you will receive more information on who your student services officer is on your ISEP dashboard. You will have our name, our email, and our phone number. So we do encourage you to reach out to us with more questions on the application process, as well as programs of best fit for you and any additional questions you may have. So upcoming events and reminders, we have our application workshop in which the student services officers will be going more in depth on the application process, and that will be on Thursday, February 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Additionally, the fall, summer, and full year 2023 application deadline for ISEP Exchange is March 1st. So if you're just starting your application, once again, we encourage you to attend the workshop, meet with your home ISEP coordinator, and reach out to your student services officer if you're interested in going abroad for any of those terms. And for ISEP Direct programs, each ISEP Direct program has a different deadline listed on the program page. So we encourage you to check those out as well. And we do encourage you also to follow us on TikTok and Instagram. So I'll turn back to Rachel to close us out, but thank you to all of our panelists for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And I want to say another huge thank you to our panelists for sharing your stories and your advice. I know I found it super helpful. I'm sure everybody else on the call did. And we just want to thank you so much for sharing all of your experience with us. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you, everybody.